Look, it was all a dream. Started organizing in my late teens. Malcolm X and Huey P, who I want to be. Marcus Garvey on my wall. That's right. I was at the young kid, thought I'd been through it all.
All right, well, we are here with Dead Prez, Stickman, and M1. Thanks, guys, so much for being with me. And you guys just rocked the house here at Downtown Brew in San Luis Obispo. And you ended your show with an Al Green tune. Tell me about that choice. Do you guys end your shows with that song typically?
Yeah, often we do, man. We definitely came up in the '70s, you know what I mean, and have a great respect for that time period and what it meant to our movement, what it meant to our households, you know what I mean, and just the feeling instantly, you know what I mean, across all cultures that you play some shit like that, you know what I mean.
Just the crowd's uplifted. I mean, just directly. Yeah.
Let's stay together. This is how we grew up. Loving you, weather. Roll it up. Weather. Put it in the air. Not so good and bad. Thank y'all, man.
Yeah, that's power of music, man. We just be wanting to leave on a good note.
All right. And M1, what about your take on that, man? Ending with Al Green, it's always a good thing, right?
Well, it's a positive vibration. Why not? You know what I mean? We, like Stick said, we came up on it, and the words speak for themselves, timeless. And it just picks up the vibration. It says a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's stay together. Yeah. And these times when everything is falling apart.
Definitely that message of unity. Definitely. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about your political influences. I mean, at least contemporary hip hop isn't necessarily known for being politicized per se. I mean, we've got classic hip hop, Public Enemy, Boogie Down Productions, a lot of stuff. What is it about you guys that you think that is kind of unique in terms of your ability to sort of incorporate political messages and even personal messages about health, physical health, psychological health? I know one of the songs off your solo album really emphasizes that.
Mm-hmm. Well, first thing I want to say is make no mistake, the contemporary music is political.
Is it? Okay.
Right? Because everything comes with a politic in it, you know what I mean? And a lot of times people think only the type of music we do is political, but when you have music that says smoke this, drink this, pimp this, buy this, you know, that's a politic.
Okay.
You know, and that benefits a certain sector of the population, you know, so let's be clear.
Okay. Gotcha.
For us, I guess, you know, the distinction in the politic is that we have a revolutionary politic. We have a politic that wants to empower ourselves, that wants to empower the listener, it wants to empower the community, you know what I mean, on a holistic level. Yeah. So we strive to communicate that in ways that are relatable to the streets.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely cool.
Yeah.
And M1, would you echo Stick's kind of take on that?
All day, every day. Exactly. That's how I see the world. I see our music or our culture as an extension of what we know and what we practice, and the regulations and rules and mores of our society, and therefore we want to be able to talk to or inside of a musical space that is giving us some power. Okay. You know what I mean? I totally agree.
Okay, cool. Well, that being said, what are some of the kind of influences on your music? Obviously, Al Green was one that you guys kind of referenced, and on Let's Get Free, a classic album, which I want to talk a lot about today because it's basically a decade in, a 10-year anniversary. But on that album, you basically reference Dead Prez as being somewhere between NWA and PE. And you guys still feel that that's a relevant sort of comparison in terms of kind of where you stand in terms of hip-hop history and your place in it?
You know what? I think a large body of our work definitely is influenced by the revolutionary creativity of a Public Enemy and the gangster sensibility of an NWA. You know, we always related to both. You know what I mean? We related to, like, if you remember Ice Cube, you know, and who was still doing his thing.
Yeah.
But he, at one point in his career, Ice Cube embodied that. You know, he was from NWA, right? But he had a connection with Public Enemy, and he had a special position that Ice Cube could hold. Okay. You know what I mean? So being from the street, but being progressive. So that's been a big influence. People like Curtis Mayfield, big influence. Okay. Musically, philosophically. You know what I mean? How he was able to take ideas and the feeling of pimped out type music and put social justice, beautiful lyrics, meaningful lyrics in them hard conditions. You know what I mean? So, beyond that, Bruce Lee, Malcolm X, soaking it up.
I mean, definitely. And mention Huey P. I mean, there's a lot of references to the Panthers, and the Panthers obviously a strong influence on your guys' music. Tell us a little bit about the influence of the Panthers in terms of that affirmative, kind of uplifting, kind of political, aspect of things.
Right on. M, you want to jump in?
Well, I mean, we happen to be on this particular coast, which was gave birth to the first chapter of the Black Panther Party out of Oakland, California. But even in Southern California, there were very influential individuals, David Hilliard, and some of which even gave their life not too far from this particular area when they came to a skirmish between them and an organization that the United States helped to pit against one another using all kind of snitch tactics and government play.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's that COINTELPRO, kind of that invasive stuff that happened with the Panthers, where the FBI kind of set moles and things like that in the system and trying to undermine the movement.
Exactly. So I got to give a shout out to David Huggins and the rest of them who lost their lives under the leadership of Bunchy Carter, who was at that time probably the leadership out of the Southern Los Angeles chapter of the Black Panther Party, and then George Jackson, who gained his kind of influence from the inside and the movement that spread and really influenced everywhere from Pelican Bay to Attica. So definitely, you're talking about a period and that's very influential in our lives as far as what dictated who real heroes are, who can really, and a lot of people were given options like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, which are great examples to have. Definitely. But to have those ones who come from this particular area of who the Panthers are, who speak to our everyday lives, is valuable. So study.
All right, there you go. Check it out. We're straight from the Dead Prez, man. Check out your history. Stick, I wanted to ask you on Let's Get Free. I mean, you kind of make reference to your guys' kind of political orientation as maybe more of kind of a socialist approach. Is that? Or do you still sort of subscribe to that kind of political sort of orientation?
Well, in essence, I mean, I'm definitely I recognize the capitalist model, is based in exploitation. It was built off slavery, and it continues to enslave through the wage system, through the IMF, through the
just the globalization system, really. Yeah.
Totally. So, but at the same time, the isms, whether you call it socialism or whatever, as I've seen things applied, and from theory versus the actual application, I've come to think, perhaps it still needs to be figured out, what's the best approach, to liberation and shaping economies and things like that.
Definitely. Stick, I wanted to ask you about your take on kind of the U.S. government. I mean, of course, there's a lot of news in the mainstream media, anyways, about the recession and how it's impacting Wall Street. But as we all know, I mean, it's impacting people on the streets. I mean, the recession, the kind of that trickle down. What's your kind of take, I guess, on maybe the Obama administration and how it's sort of trying to tackle some of these big issues in terms of the economy, et cetera?
Wow, that's a good question.
It's a big question. I apologize for springing that on you, but
it's all good. I mean, I think Obama as a president and as his current administration has a job to do in the interest of imperialism. I don't think Obama has come to dismantle imperialism or to weaken that. I think he has came to strengthen it, but using a youthful swag to do it.
A message of hope and things like that. Kind of.
Well, yeah, that, and now that's the whatever. But I mean, his diplomacy and ability to speak and who he is historically, in that seat is a strategy that's being used by the same ruling class that had Bush represented, and everybody else before that. So the way I think that we can intelligently analyze and look at that is to say, what are his policies in the real world, and assess them based off how they affect people. You know what I mean? And you know, as long as there was bombs still being dropped on Afghanistan, the healthcare situation is still what it is. The prison disparities and et cetera, police brutality, et cetera. As long as there's not a program in place, I think it's our responsibility to be mindful of that and to move wisely accordingly, you know, and not just be lulled in by the historic nature of a black man in office, but to be critical thinkers and objective. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, to kind of put to emphasize one of the real, there's obviously a lot of positive aspects to your guys' music, but one of the things you kind of really represented tonight was the RBG Fit Club. Tell us a little about your stance. You mentioned on stage kind of your commitment to kind of a straight edge lifestyle, at least for a couple years. Tell us about what that means to you to be healthy and what that concept means.
To me, that's personal liberation. You know what I mean? You know, getting over your addictions, strengthening your discipline. Not having crutches, substances for crutches. I don't need to escape reality. I need to face it head on. I just did a new album called A Workout, and it's available on iTunes and on my website, stickrBG.com, dedicated to health and wellness. And for me, it's important because even within the revolutionary circles, you see people with degenerate lifestyle. Just pouring liquor down their throat every day, destroying liver, kidney, heart disease, but everything is the system, and it's always pointing outside of what you can do.
Gotcha. So not claiming like personal ownership of your health kind of thing.
Exactly. And they're one and the same. There's a reason that people are self-medicating based on the conditions. You know what I mean? But it's also a certain amount of responsibility that we have to try to encourage, or else we won't be around to fight the system.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So for me, as I feel like a new man, I feel like it's the best thing I've done, you know, even bigger than music. Is make a commitment. I got a son, I got a family, I got a mom who needs health and inspiration, you feel me?
Yeah, no doubt. And you were up on stage, you were energized, man. So I guess it's a good thing in terms of your musical performances and getting in the studio and putting out some good tracks and things like that.
Thank you, man. My philosophy is health is the new gangster, you know, and ain't nothing soft about it. In fact, it's easy to, sip scissor up and smoke weed and drink liquor. That's
kind of a passive kind of approach to it.
Soldiers don't do that. You know, if you have an objective, you want to be clear. You don't want to be getting stopped and locked up for weed unnecessarily and all these type of things. You want to be able to focus, be grown, be adults. So all I could do is strive to keep myself on that path, and if anybody can benefit from that, then good.
There you go. Well, definitely a positive role model. Whether you wanted to be a role model or not, you are by default. So that's a good thing, man.
We need it, man, because we role models in the sense that I don't want to be a goody two shoes. I definitely have my share of weed, liquor, you name it. So, but I think that if we're gonna come out here and we're gonna talk about what the government is doing, and we have to balance that with our own lifestyles.
Yeah, sounds like just really claiming that responsibility for one's kind of fate, etc. So cool. Well, one last question for you, Stick. I appreciate both you and Em being with me here for so long. Wanted to ask you guys just a little bit about what's going on with you guys in terms of your tour, any upcoming album that we should be expecting, etc., etc., and of course plugging deadprez.com. Em?
Oh man, look out, deadprez.com, deadprez.com. You know what I mean? You already said it, Stick new album, Workout, stickrBG.com. Get the new album, The Workout.
All right, there you have it. So deadprez.com. Check it out. Thanks guys so much for being with me, and best of luck on your tour, man.
Salute.
All right.
1, 2, 1, 2, what is it like? It's bigger than here. What? Here. What? Here. What? Here. It's bigger than what? 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 What?
diabetes. We banging on heart disease. You know what I mean? We banging on drug addiction. We banging on idiocracy out here. You heard?
There we go. Straight from Stick. Thanks again, man. Thanks. All right.